behind the Perfect Startup podcast. I'd like to start off by saying thank you for the great response on the previous podcast episodes. And here we are again today. Today we have with us Lisa Williams. Lisa is the founder and chief digital marketer at It's Simply Digital, which is a Dallas-based full-service digital marketing startup. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so honored to be speaking with you and to be on the podcast.
Oh, it's lovely to have you, and it's likewise. So, why don't you go ahead and give a brief introduction about yourself to the audience and a little something about your business?
Sure. So, I personally, I have two grown kids. I live in Texas. I've had the opportunity and the privilege to travel a lot over the last year and a half. And because I own my own business and because everything is online, I've been able to experience so many wonderful different places. And I've had the opportunity to work and travel at the same time. So that's been wonderful. I love to scuba dive. I love to snow ski. I learned to surf recently. I'm learning to speak better Spanish. I want to start salsa dancing. So I've had all these wonderful opportunities through traveling.
Wow. So,
And go ahead.
right. So just like I had imagined, you are a person full of, sunshine and all the positivity and optimism. I love it. Please tell me more
Thank
about
you.
yourself.
Yeah, so and I run a digital marketing agency called It's Simply Digital. It kind of came out of a passion, but also a necessity. So I had always had a side hustle, doing multiple various different things. I have a degree in marketing from many years ago, but which is my passion and which I love. I love knowing everything about marketing, but it's changed, right, in the last 25 years, where everything is digital. So I kind of had to relearn a lot of stuff on the digital platforms, but marketing is marketing. But yeah, I run my own digital marketing agency. I during COVID, I was working for a boutique agency that was a small business that had been in business for like 20 years. And during COVID, we lost a lot of clients through that company. And because we lost clients, I got let go. And so I just decided to bet on myself and start my own business. And so here we are a little over a year later, and it's been wonderful.
Yeah, it sure has been a wonderful journey. And, I really wanted to know, you are a certified scuba diver. You love hiking and snow skiing. You obviously are an outdoorsy girl. So how do you keep yourself inside the four walls for marketing?
Well, I do what I just told you. I travel a lot to experience life. So, it's really hard. Like today, it's gray and gloomy outside. It's a little chilly. It probably is going to rain. I love the outdoors. I love connecting with nature. I love being outside, hiking, scuba diving, surfing, all of that stuff. But, I also have a passion for my clients and for their business, and I want them to succeed. And so, I think I create that balance.
It's wonderful. And especially have being passionate about what you do, it's like it makes everything even better. And
Yes.
yeah, and I came across your profile, and the first thing that I learned about you was that you made mums and garters back in high school. Can you tell us a little about that?
Sure. So I think it's a Texas thing. I don't know that really the rest of the world knows what that really means, but it's kind of,
Google that.
yeah, it's kind of flashy and kind of showy and stuff. But, we make these mums that you put, that the girls wear on the side of their chest, basically. And they've kind of exploded since I've been in high school. But, you take the flower and you add bells and whistles and colors and all kinds of stuff to it. And, it's, you put the name of who your school and then who you're going to go to homecoming with or to the game with. And so it makes it a fun thing. It's a fun tradition. And then the girls buy the guys a garter. So you wear it, the guys wear it on their arm. And again, it's a smaller version of what the girls wear on their chest, but it has, you know, the name, the school, who you're going to homecoming with or to the game with. And again, bells, whistles, little, you know, trinkets and all footballs. And, you know, like if you play a sport, you put your sport on there. So it's just a fun thing. I think I don't know where it came from or why we started it, but you know, when I was in high school, I literally just took apart one and I'm like, oh, I can make this really easy. I figured out how to put it all back together. So it was a neat thing. It was a neat experience.
That's crazy interesting. And if I'm not wrong, it wasn't all. You've had quite an experience. You sold imported home decor items, you had a cake business, photography and digital design business, and whatnot. I mean, it's safe to say we have our first all-rounder in the podcast series. And it looks like you did everything that you enjoyed. How did you finally, like settle down and you are like found digital marketing to go ahead with?
So I think in being an entrepreneur, you're always marketing yourself, your business, your products, your service, you know. So I think in creating all of those different businesses, I realized I was really good at marketing and really good. I would come up with these, I'm a big picture visionary person. So I would come up with these kind of out of the box ideas on how to market things and how to grow my business. And you know, one of the things that I have learned is when you really just give into your passion, the money will come. And when you really show your work, you know, your passion shows through your work and you are able to really show the world, the universe, like, you know, hey, this is what I do and I do it really well. I think people are attracted to that. They're attracted to the confidence. They're attracted to the passion. I think that that's what naturally attracts people to you, that it shows in your work.
It does. It sure does. So if I find someone who is doing something passionately, it's like I want to move ahead with that guy's service because he is loving what he's doing. So he is putting all the effort and he's actually making a difference in the work. So it's like they have to go with you, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So now for the audience, Lisa, would you please share any three common digital marketing mistakes that people make?
Sure. Okay. So one of the things I know that a lot of my clients, people who come to me, you know, a lot of the general public in marketing, we want to talk about ourselves. We want to talk about our service or our product or our company and how it could help you, the audience, whoever it is your audience is. And we want to showcase our features and our benefits. And really, that's completely backwards from what you really should be doing. You really should be talking about the pain points that the audience has and really highlighting how you help solve those problems and what their life will look like after you help them solve those problems. So it's taking your audience on a journey and it's showing them, this is what your life looks like now. These are your pain points that you have. These are the things that we address for those pain points. These are things that we help solve those pain points. And this is what your life is going to look like after you do business with us. And I think it's really important for a couple things. I think talking about your audience's pain point gives them a connection, showing up consistently wherever they are. So whether it's, and this is where I think the thing is that we do really well is we do a digital marketing strategy to figure out who their audience is, where they hang out on, what kind of content they like to consume. So going back to, you have to show up consistently. You have to find the platforms and or wherever your audience is hanging out. Are they listening to podcasts? Are they reading blogs? Are they on social media? If they are on social media, what channels are they on? And how do they like to consume that content? Do they like to watch video? Do they like to read? Do they like a combination of both? What kind of what interests them outside of their business or their work? And how can you connect with them on that level as well? So it's really focusing on your client or your audience and not focusing on your business or your features or your benefits. The other thing that I'm going to share is you have to share, tell, show, explain through stories. And that's the only way people remember. Like you and I, if I was to tell you, if I was to have a list behind me of all the features and all the benefits that my company might offer or provide, you're not going to remember that list. But if I shared with you in a story how we could help you transform your life, from where you are here to where you're going to be after doing business with us, if I could share that in a story, you're going to probably remember some of that. And even better, if I could share some of that visually, because we all learn, remember, and retain things through stories and with visualization.
That's right. Yeah. And I love the concept, how you said you help your clients see how you can bridge the gap between, what their pain points are right now and how they can overcome that and be more, like thriving. So that's a great concept.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. And it's inspiring how you've always been into some kind of side hustle. How would you say it has helped you become the entrepreneur you are today?
So I think what happens for me, and I think just in a lot of people that I've spoke with that I know are in this space, this entrepreneur space, is I think we're scared to go all in, right? We're scared to take that leap of faith on ourselves and bet on ourselves. So I always had a side hustle because it gave me security to have a paycheck and then have a side hustle. And what was happening is I was loving my side hustle more than I was loving the work that I was doing for a paycheck. And I was spending so much time and energy on my side hustle that I don't think I was doing my job well. And that's kind of when that transition happened. I got let go because of COVID, but I always believe that the universe gives you what you really need at the time that you need it. And so I always had a side hustle because I was too scared to take the leap and go all in on myself. But if you think about it, having a job with a paycheck, you're just a paycheck away from getting fired or let go as well. So you're betting on them rather than betting on yourself. So my little nugget of my little takeaway is, if you're thinking about going into business and growing a business for yourself, I know it's a scary thing. I know that there's so much fear involved. And believe me, I have it. Like some months I'm like, oh, we're good. We're going to make, I'm going to pay my mortgage and I'm going to, have extra money. And some months I'm like, oh, we're tight this month. And, you have that roller coaster, but it's what fuels me every single day to get out of bed, to show up for my clients, to show up for my audience, to create content. It's what fuels me.
That's right. And I think you really need the, lows, the downs to appreciate the ups.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, it's just like life. Life is you never sit up here, right? Like there's, it would be uninteresting and boring if you constantly sat up here. So life throws you curves, and you have, dips, and you have valleys, and you have mountains. And I think it's the same thing with anything you do, with a sport, with a passion, with an entrepreneurship, with a business. I think you have these ups and downs, and it's where you learn, it's where you grow, it's where you figure things out to make things better.
Right. and it's like that's what makes it memorable, right?
Sure. Yes.
So Lisa, you have your own podcast. Can you please tell the audience a little bit about that?
So my podcast has kind of evolved over the last couple of years. I started it 3 years ago,
Yeah.
and at first it was more about self-development and spirituality, and I really kind of interviewed a lot of people about their mindset and how they got to where they were and how they had to change their mind to get there. And then when I went full-time doing It's Simply Digital, which was my full-time agency work, I kind of transitioned over from that podcast to doing digital marketing and providing marketing advice and concepts and tips and tricks and hacks and all of that stuff. So then I started inviting guests on that were more of an expert in their industry that could share information with my audience. So like somebody who would share user experience, or somebody who would share Facebook ads or targeting, or somebody who would share, content creation. And so that my podcast has evolved over the last 3 years. I actually, right now at this very moment, I have it on hold for a little while because I was traveling and I didn't have my equipment with me, and the internet was kind of sketchy at places where I was. So I had put it on hold for a couple of months, and I'm going to pick it back up at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. And it's amazing how you don't just bring digital marketing to the table, but also positivity and optimism and creative energy. I think that's what makes a great package. And were you always full of positivity and optimism, or did you find it somewhere along the way?
No, I think that that's just part of my personality. I think it's just who I am. And don't get me wrong, there are days that it's not full of rainbows and sunshine, but I always try to look for the good. I try to look for the good in people. I try to look for the good in the situation. I try to look for good in the experience, because I'm going to say something like, when there are things that don't go the way that I expect them, or hit me in, different areas, you have to sit in that stillness and feel that emotion and feel, okay, accept what's wrong, feel it and feel your feelings. But I also like to try to look for, okay, what was my part in this? How did I play a role in this? What could I have done different? And what can I do next time to make sure that the outcome is different?
Wow, that's like really inspiring, and I really like how perception of how you look at things. It's really nice.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, I know that you are a Texas girl and you're loyal to your cowboys. What would you say that your approach to digital marketing is different than others?
So one of the things I think is, there's plenty of business out there for everybody. So there's a lot of people that probably do what I do in this space. I think it's that connection, creating that connection. I think one of the things that we offer, or that my business, my team that we offer, is we're not going to do business with anybody, and we're not going to start a marketing campaign or content creation or anything until we do a digital marketing strategy first. And I tell potential clients that come to me, one of the things I want to work with you, and I hope that you want to work with me, but and I say it in a very professional way, but we don't work with anybody until we do a strategy first, because you have to have a starting point. You have to have a plan. You have to have a foundation. Otherwise, you're just kind of throwing things at the wall and seeing what works. And so we really start from the beginning. And we also really focus on organic growth and brand building. So we look at all of their platforms, and we look and we decide, okay, why are you posting on all these platforms? Maybe your audience is not on Instagram. Maybe they're only on LinkedIn. maybe you don't need to be posting on Instagram, or maybe you only need to share a story or a reel every once in a great while. So we try to analyze, where they're posting, who their audience is, where they're showing up. We also look at their website, and like I said earlier in this conversation, are they talking about themselves a lot, or are they solving their audience's pain points? And so we always look at what their message is online and how we could better form that content and that message.
Well, that's really good. That's really amazing. And I really like your concept of, doing your job. It's like, I think strategizing is the most important part, and you have to have a plan to move forward. Right?
Sure.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
Lisa, what motivates you to move forward?
Well, I just have a passion for life in general. So, like I said, I want to travel, I want to experience things. That's what fuels me every single day. So if I could work and do my job and help my clients at the same time that I get to experience all these wonderful things that this world has to offer, that's what excites me. That's what motivates me. If I get to go hiking one day and then work on content the next day, and if I get to go scuba diving one day and then work on, 3 campaigns or a strategy, I mean, that's exciting to me because I have that balance and I'm still experiencing life while I am creating this business.
I love it. That must be an amazing feeling. Did you ever find yourself stuck at an obstacle, and how did you overcome that?
So I'm stuck at obstacles all the time. Every single day, I feel like there's obstacles. I think one of the things that I've learned through growing my business is not everybody is the right client for me. And I think we, as a general population who are entrepreneurs, we get fearful that we need to have money coming in because it's our livelihood, right? And so we take clients that might not align or feel right with who we are or what we represent. And so what has happened, or what I have figured out through this process, is I've had to let clients go and clients have had to let me go. And, it's all been, very understanding and very peaceful, but not everybody aligns with you and you don't align with everybody. So I was coming to some crossroads where clients were overstepping their scope of work by asking me to do things outside the work. And then because I'm a people pleaser and because I want the business and because I need the money at the time or whatever, I was saying yes to a whole lot of things that were causing me a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of extra hours working, nights and weekends. And so the obstacle that I came to was I had to learn to listen to my intuition and listen to what my gut is telling me and who I really should be doing business with, who aligns with what I represent. And so I've had to let clients go because of that, and be okay with it. And that's an obstacle that I feel like has been a while in the making for me, but I'm better and better at it every single time.
That's right. So there is work, and there is the importance of having, peace of mind, which is really important. And I think you get it. So again,
Yes.
we're at the end of the podcast now, Lisa. I have 2 more questions for you. So we're already in December now. What would you say are your plans for 2022?
So One of the things that we are going to focus on, that It's Simply Digital, that my team and I are going to focus on, is we're going to focus on building strategies more than we focus on implementing them. We're still going to implement them for clients, but we're going to focus on, maybe you already know somebody that's going to implement it, but they don't have a strategy in place, or they're not going to put a strategy. So we're going to focus on building strategies for clients. I'm going to start up my podcast again. And I am going to actually do some diving into TikTok. I feel like it's a platform that I don't use right now. And it's a platform that I don't really share content for my clients on, because most of my clients are in the B2B space. So they're usually on LinkedIn. But what I have been reading a lot of and doing a lot of research is Generation Z, which is the kids who are younger, up to 24 years old right now. They have so much buying power and so much influence. And so it's thinking outside the box and thinking, how do you connect with a younger age group? And how do you inspire them? How do you empower them? And how do you work on the platforms that they are, used to viewing content on?
Yeah. So I think you have to adapt yourself according to your audience, to the target audience, right?
Of course. Yes.
And TikTok is actually a very influential and a very powerful platform. So good luck with that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Lisa, would you like to share any advice to the entrepreneurs and the in the audience?
Sure. So I think one of the things that I really want to share is confidence is felt even though you're behind a wall, even though we're on a Zoom call, even though you're posting content on social media where you might not be doing videos, you might just be posting content. When you're on a call with a potential client, when you're speaking, confidence is felt, it's an energy. And so you have to show up with confidence. It doesn't mean arrogance, and it doesn't mean full of yourself. It means that you're confident in your abilities to do your job, whatever that job is, whatever your service is, whatever your product is. You're confident in solving the problems for your potential client. And then the other thing that I would share is you have to be consistent. So one of the things, and I'm saying this as my podcast is on hold, but you have to be consistent in constantly putting out content. So if you are always showing up on social, then you need to continually show up on social. If you're always writing blogs, then you need to continue to write blogs. If you have a podcast, then you need to continue to. So you have to be consistent in your message, consistent in your content, and consistent in the platforms that you share it on. And your audience actually gets familiar with your schedule, if you will. And so consistency and confidence are probably two of the biggest things that I could give as takeaways, as starting a business.
That's amazing, Lisa. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, for sharing your amazing journey. And I'm sure people in the audience, they have a lot to take away from this. And I love your confidence, and you really are a wonderful person. I'm just glad to speak to you today.
Thank you so much. And again, it was an honor to be on your podcast. And thank you so much for your time. And I appreciate you sharing my story with your audience.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.